Oscar winner Michael Moore's latest movie, Fahrenheit 11-9 or .9, his most powerful film yet. Please welcome back the fabulous and really smart Michael Moore.
I don't know about the smart part, but I did go to Catholic school.
The movie is phenomenal.
Yeah.
The movie is phenomenal.
Yeah, you've never done anything that wasn't a smart thing. You're really good at pointing out things we need to know about. So let's talk a little bit about something that's been a hot topic. So on Wednesday, Senator Dianne Feinstein sent federal investigators a letter about Supreme Court nominee Brett Kavanaugh, according to the New York Times, concerning possible misconduct, sexual misconduct, that he was allegedly involved in as a high school student. Now, she ended up sending this because people were sort of making allegations as to what it was, and so she sent it to the FBI instead. Should people know about this if it turns out to be correct?
Well, I think anybody that's going to be on the Supreme Court has to be a complete open book, and you have to know everything. And you could make the case for, well, he could say I was young, or I didn't, I wasn't an adult yet, or whatever. But I think that we live in an era now where things like that, we'd rather transparency than not transparency. And there's never anything wrong with information or asking questions or investigating, and he can make his own statement. I think the even larger issue is that these hearings, people need to understand that this is not about Brett Kavanaugh or the Supreme Court. Right. This is really about, ultimately, whether or not women will still have a right to choose, whether or not a certain political group, a minority, by the way, in this country, who believe that the government should be in your bedroom, the government should have some sort of proprietary ownership of your ovaries. And if you believe that, well, go for it. But I got to tell you, the majority of Americans don't believe that. And if you've seen that documentary, Ruth Bader Ginsburg, RBG, this was like, back then, they asked every question. Yeah. And you had to answer, because the people have a right to know, well, where do you stand on this? Because it does affect everyone. You can't just get away with, well, it's a hypothetical, or I didn't, It's
a lifetime appointment.
It's a lifetime appointment. And my friends, that the fact that Trump, assuming he makes it to 2020, and if he gets a second term, and you have to operate with the understanding that he could be a two-term Trump. People didn't believe Bush would get a second term, and he got one. If Trump is your president until January 20th of 2025, just do the math in your head. How old will you be in 2025? That's how long Donald Trump is going to be your president. He will have another 1, 2, or even 3 Supreme Court appointments are possible.
And that's why former President Barack Obama said elections have consequences. Because if you then become president, you get to make these decisions, and you predicted...
Unless somebody blocks you.
Yeah. Well, and that's why the politics matter, who voting for Senate and Congress all is really important, too. But you were one of the only ones saying, take this guy seriously. Take Donald Trump seriously.
Not literally, seriously.
Take him seriously. This is someone that could actually win. And you've got a lot of Trump folks who are angry right now because there's a narrative with the Woodward book and most recently that New York Times op-ed telling a different story of what's going on at the White House. Do you have a theory of who you think this op-ed writer is? And you think he's a traitor or a hero?
Well, it could be our Russian ambassador, our ambassador to Russia, could have written it.
You mean my dad?
I'm just teasing.
Full disclosure, he was great friends with my grandpa who passed away this year. And,
yes,
and it's a great story because politically they couldn't have been more different, but you come together as friends and values.
Correct, and your father is... The Republicans who really wish they had their Republican Party back instead of the Republican Party that's now been dismantled.
It's not the Republican Party, it's the Trump Party.
It's the Trump Party, right. And even John Boehner said that. The Republican Party is dead. Right. It's the Trump Party. Let's start calling it what it is. Yeah. Yes, I did try to warn people that, but I live in Michigan, so I saw what was going on. And I saw that a lot of people who didn't necessarily like Trump wanted to use him as their Molotov cocktail to blow up a system that had hurt them. And they didn't know any other way to do it. Remember, Michigan also, in the primary, voted for Bernie over Hillary. So there was already the indication that there was discontent and people wanted something different. They wanted change, and it was.
They got it.
Do you think Bernie would have been?
sure got it.
Do you think Bernie would have beaten Trump? Because they were similar in many ways.
I personally think he would have, and I'll tell you something that there's a poll that's they're going to release in West Virginia. The Democrats took a poll to ask if the election in 2020 was between Bernie and Trump. Now you got to understand, West Virginia, #1 state for Trump, 68% of the vote. If the election in 2020 was between Bernie and Trump, how would you vote? 48% Bernie, 46% Trump. In Trump's biggest state.
Wow.
So, but if the Democrats, and I'm guessing they will, just put up another same old, tired, uninspiring, let's not go too far.
Right.
Let's just have half health care.
So who's your choice? Who do you think would beat Trump?
The honest answer to that is I don't even know if we're going to get to 2020 as a democracy. I don't even know.
Really?
Well, did you see the poll recently that
when
50...
When do you see this movie? You'll kill yourself.
Don't. You won't do that.
This movie is like, oh my God,
Okay,
this country.
I'm just going to say, you know she's kidding.
Yes.
Of course, I'm kidding.
Yes,
It's an expression.
It is an expression,
Yeah.
but we always like, because some of y'all take stuff really literally.
Right.
And seriously.
And seriously.
When I
So
say
that's
if you
what
go
we're
to see
saying.
my movie, there's free popcorn and goobers, I am just kidding.
Okay.
But
But Michael's sticking
Yeah,
around,
okay.
and we'll be right back.